for $7,500. Spradley pled guilty.
Y'all can see this lady was a crackhead, man. She was on the crack, but show us what them lawheads be doing. Them lawheads really be finessing them houses.
These guys are trying to scam my boy out his property. Look, it's the second time he came around trying to get him.
Hey, Daniel.
Trying to scam.
I came to do inspection of the house.
Ain't no inspection. You don't own the house. Get out of here. You don't own nothing.
You know this is a court order.
Like get court order.
Vacate.
No, get out of here. Fake ass court order. Look at this nigga trying to scam.
Might have to drop a dime on them niggas.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Stop.
I don't like that shit.
For sure, bro.
I don't like that shit.
All right, we back with another video, man. Y'all know how we do. All we pushing help and to better understand the self. In this video, y'all, we got deed thefts that's going on in our community in New York, the FBA community. We're gonna play this video, and I want to get what y'all think in the comment section. Let's get
deed theft, where homeowners are essentially tricked out of their properties, has been a pervasive problem for a few years now. And now this group is rallying outside the governor's office, demanding that she do something about it.
My father and I worked really hard. We scraped and we saved and we purchased our home legally and legitimately.
Rachel Cyprian was shaking mad as she spoke with us outside the governor's office about the devastating impact of her 15-year fight to reclaim ownership of her Brooklyn home following deed theft.
It leads to homelessness. It leads to depression. It leads to all sorts of failures. Here we are, Black people, in this country now for over 400 years, and we're constantly starting from square one.
Deed theft is when a property's title is transferred away from the rightful owner, generally due to deceptive or predatory tactics. Frequently, the targets are seniors and communities of color.
What do we want? Deed theft. When do we want it?
Now, Brooklyn City Councilman Chio Say is pressing the governor to put a moratorium on evictions where there's a deed theft case pending or being investigated.
We are pleading to the governor, to the head of the state, to do right by all of us, to do right by Black New Yorkers, and to do your job.
During the moratorium, Chio Say and other elected leaders are demanding legislative fixes, like more support for homeowners in eviction court, special investigative units inside district attorneys' offices, a public database of shell companies associated with deed theft, and more. In response, a spokeswoman for the governor's office did not mention an immediate moratorium, but said the governor has taken a number of steps to push back against deed theft. Quote, "No New Yorker should be cheated out of the opportunity to keep their home," which is why Governor Hochul has proposed $40 million in her state budget for the Homeowner Protection Program, and why she has led the way in enacting strong protections to empower homeowners and crack down on illegal deed theft. But advocates say they will press on for more reform and that immediate moratorium.
Moratorium now! Moratorium now!
Governor Hochul, it is now at your door. What are you going to do to keep Black families in their home? That's it. That's all I want to hear about.
Between 2014 and 2023, there have been roughly 3,500 complaints of deed theft in New York City alone. So we will continue following these proposals and continue to follow up with the governor's office and councilman's office as this moves forward. In Midtown, Henry Rossoff, Pix 11.
Can you tell me a little bit about the story of what's going on here?
Sure, absolutely. Well, what's happening is that this is a form of deed theft by conservatorship, guardianship that he mentioned. The conservatorship was in the state of Georgia. Georgia signed off with these shell developers and signed off and said that the property was for sale. They sold the property. It was in litigation. It was in court. They discontinued the case, and then they went amongst each other and signed off and said that they sold the property for whatever amount. And then they came into my house and broke in and said, "We're the new owners of the property." Right.
Wow.
And then that's when the series of stuff have started, was saying, no, this is a deed theft case. Like, how does a conservative from Georgia able to sign off without petitioning the state of New York for a sale? None of those things were done. But because they thought that we wouldn't know, we're not educated enough, we don't have legal representation, proper legal representation, they were able to do it. And every time we went in front of the courts, we were being denied. because they're compromised. These developers know the judges.
That's crazy.
So even up to the appellate. And that's when I decided we're going to stay down. I went to the appellate, one of the highest courts. And I said, I need you to just stay in eviction and allow me to argue my case. The lady said to me, I'll allow you to argue your case, but they're going forward with the eviction. I said, what?
What?
I said, wait. I said, what? I said, at that point, I came home. I see my president. He was standing right here. I said, we get ready to do a 24-hour takeover. That's it. Like, if you not allowing me, if you telling me that, this is what we about to do. And that's exactly what we did.
How long you been living here?
This house been in our family for 60 years. This was my great uncle's and my grandmother's house is right there. We had two houses.
Wow.
60 years.
Look what they do to people living 60 years
60
here.
60 years, yeah. And don't you get tired of hearing that story all the time?
I'm tired of hearing it.
Me too. This used to be a thriving Black community. This used to be a thriving. Why? We got to take our stuff back. No more. That is not going to be the storyline anymore. It has to stop.
Yeah, I 100%
thank
agree.
you. We thank you for what you do.
These guys are trying to scam my boy out his property. Look, it's the second time he came around trying to get him.
Hey, Daniel.
Trying to scam.
I came to do inspection of the house.
Ain't no inspection. You don't own the house. Get out of here.
Daniel,
you don't own
Daniel,
nothing.
You know this is a court order.
Like a court order.
Must vacate.
No, get out of here. Fake ass court order. Look at this nigga trying to scam. This guy's been here for years. Get out of here, bro. Get out of here. He's born here. Get out of here. When they call the cops, you came, the cops came, they did nothing. Get out of here. Yo, oh yeah. I don't know if you know this guy's trying to scam. We're not playing over here. We're not playing. We don't give a fuck about that little fake ass hat. We're not this fucking hat on. We're not playing. You heard me? We're not playing. I'm trying to play. I'm trying to get him the fuck out of here before he gets himself hurt out here. You heard? We don't give a fuck about that hat. You heard? We don't give a fuck about that hat. We'll knock his fucking head off. These guys are trying to scam my boy out his property.
So that's what the FBA family in New York going with, a lot of deed theft. So, and y'all know, this is why the new Black media, we pushing out a lot of information that's waking our people up so we don't get scammed. We talked about that, you know, Pan-African scam that they got going on, trying to send our people to Africa. This is another scam that they got. Now here, I'm going to play this video and show you exactly how they scam somebody out of a house. Check it out.
Considered their safe haven, never imagining the roof over their heads could be stolen from them. I'm Tisha Powell.
And I'm Lee Zurich. This exact nightmare is happening to homeowners across the country. Known as deed fraud, it involves forging documents to make a phony transfer of property ownership. Armed with that paperwork, criminals can then sell a home, take out a mortgage, or rent it without the true owners knowing.
Reporter Sierra Cummings explains how the scheme works and the solutions giving more homeowners peace of mind.
Into my office. And
Melissa Sanis takes us through her Atlanta home.
I hang out in there a lot.
To the office.
Those are all the chapters.
Where she's writing a novel.
Full-time job.
But there's another story unfolding at this house too. One she wishes was fiction.
Do you know anybody by the name of Angela Spradley?
No, never heard of her.
Except Spradley is the so-called new owner of Melissa's house.
It is absolutely shocking.
A property the Sanis rebuilt from the ground up.
We worked really hard to get there.
Real estate transactions confirm they bought the house in 2021. Yet Angela Spradley's name is listed as the grantee in this deed transfer. It shows an LLC transfer ownership of the Sanis house to Spradley, making her the owner. A fraudulent document, according to Sanis. A document that doesn't make sense because an LLC did not own the house in the first place to even give it away to Spradley.
We are trained to think that we've got to hold our purses closer to us when we're walking through a parking lot, or we know not to leave keys in our car, but you never think someone's going to actually come in and not just rob you of the things inside your home, but try to steal your actual home.
The allegedly forged document filed in the Fulton County Clerk's office March 2022. Around that same time, multiple other deeds transferred Atlanta homes over to Spradley. Possible because up until 2025, Georgia had a loophole in state law. We exposed and helped close it. Previously, state policy did not require identification when filing or transferring a deed, meaning the state did not require anyone to actually prove they own the very property for the paperwork which they're filing. Thieves stealing the title to houses, like Spradley, whose alleged forgery did not stop in Atlanta. In Bibb County, she was arrested, sentenced, and convicted for stealing 5 properties there.
If you do this in our community, you're going to be held accountable.
For so long, families say law enforcement inaction meant they had to pursue their own deed fraud cases civilly. But now, some judicial circuits are pursuing this criminally. Macon District Attorney Anita Howard and Assistant District Attorney Jeremy Johnson took on the case against Spradley.
It was my first case like this in the office. And it's one of the reasons, admittedly, why I dove so deep into it, because it was interesting to me, because I didn't realize that it was so easy in that situation for something like this to happen.
In order to seek justice, oftentimes we must go beyond the surface. And that's exactly what he did.
Records suggest Spradley forged deed transfers on at least 5 Macon properties. This first location helped unravel the scheme. A couple leaves their house for an extended period. When the husband returns, he finds it like this.
And so immediately, he called his wife and saying like, hey, our house is boarded up. It look like it's about to sell.
Even posted for sale on Realtor.com. When the DA's office began looking into this property, that's when they found Spradley's name on the others.
She actually took the deeds into the clerk's office and filed them on the same day.
So it's like a dead giveaway.
Yes, that was the first red flag.
At least 3 of the properties she sold to an unsuspecting buyer for $7,500. Spradley pled guilty.
Y'all can see this lady was a crackhead, man. She was on the crack, but show us what them little heads be doing. Them little heads really be finessing them houses. They ain't, y'all showing us the, crackheads.
To theft by deception, forgery, filing false documents, making false statements, and false swearing for all 5 Macon properties.
They think, well, they're not going to care about these property crimes. But that's why it's so important that as, law enforcement and prosecutors, that we pursue these crimes.
Back in Atlanta, there's no criminal case against Spradley's alleged forgeries, leaving families like the Santis hopeful that local officials seek prosecution too.
Your home is your safe haven. You never think someone's going to come along and try to take your actual home, the walls of your home, away from you.
We reached out to the Fulton County District Attorney's Office about this case and did not hear back.
All right, do y'all see how the deed theft is going on in New York? They're doing it in Georgia. I know a lot in our FBA history has been going on with us with Black men actually getting unalived for their piece of land. So we've been going through this for decades and decades and decades, but I want to know what y'all think about this. I like the 24-hour takeover that the family did in New York. I like that they're urgent about it. So I want to know what y'all think, some strategies that they could be doing or what you think is next. But this is crazy, man. Somebody stealing, they're not stealing from nobody else. It's like we gotta not let people play with us. So we gotta make sure that everybody respecting us in a manner, because this is what will happen. They'll just think that they can just do anything to us. So y'all know we're going live tonight, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and Sunday. Definitely y'all tap in, call in, give what y'all think. I want y'all to speak y'all mind. But until then, y'all ask for the Discord in the lives. We'll get those out. But let me know what y'all think in the comment section. I'll catch y'all in the next video. Peace and love.
Community must have 3 things to have a community in it. You must have a wholly independent economic structure that can provide goods, service, products, and things for your own people, and jobs and tax bases for your own people. You should at least control 4 basic things You should be trying to control water, food, medicine, and energy to be able to survive and compete.
Here we got Mr. Pollock. He had a cornfield. He took advantage of a free water test from us, and this is what we found in this water. We found sulfur, we found hardness, and we solved these problems with an easy fix of 2 tanks. So get your free water test today. Stay blessed. Click the link below.